People start businesses out of a labor of love, and they're doing it, yes, they want to get good at it and they want to make money at it, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. Nobody should make an excuse about it. But when your heart is in it for the right reason, the productivity is all that much more valuable because people feel it. You're not selling it, they're feeling your passion. It's QQS, baby. You know what that is, right? Quality, quantity, and Spirit, and to be able to improve on that, it's really involving ourselves in those levels over and over again. And, and that's the people you want to speak with and surround yourself with, because they're going to be the truest to the trade in whatever their trade is. And people will feel that, not because they're sold something. They're going to feel it because they're going to hear the true intention, from the person. And that's what I'm all about, man.
I know it.
I hope you've been recording this.
Yes. So welcome everybody to Interviews with Experts here with UprofitPro. And I've got a very happy and enthusiastic person who I've known for years and years, as many of the people I interview here in UprofitPro are. And this person has become someone, well, we've made a lot of money together, and we've also had a variety of other directions that we've gone in. Both of us have become authors. And both of us have done lots of things inside and outside the home business industry. And this person, though, in particular, is, I think, someone who's really good at branding. So maybe she'll talk about that. She's good at lots of things. She's just she's a genius. I know she's a genius. We've got the home business diva, Robin Firestone, with us today. Hey, how you doing, Robin?
I'm good. I wake up every day and I am grateful for sure, but life is good. I've worked hard to get to where I am today, but as I was just chatting with you earlier, I had my maids, they just left, and I have a beautiful clean, it's 6,400 square foot home on the water here in Hilton Head Island. How bad could things be, right?
That's it. I want to be a diva. How do I get to be a diva?
Well, you have to earn the name, and it's so funny that you bring that up because, we go back. I will tell you exactly how far we go back. We go back, John, about 7.5 years. And, I've actually evolved into a diva I remember this when I actually was branding, the home business diva, and we were at a conference together somewhere in the world, and you looked at me and you're like, wow, the diva, the home business diva. and as much as I remember that, I remember the first time I met you, and, gosh, that was about 7.5 years ago. I was in Hawaii, and I kind of called you up after, and I wanted to place an ad somewhere. It was the silliest thing, and it was in Miami, and you're like, well, Robin, I've been doing this a long time, and I've not been able to get into that newspaper, but if you get in, let me know, and I'll go in it with you. And, in less than 24 hours, here I was, just new into business, and I get into the Miami, and the next thing I know, you and I are partnered up in some advertising co-op, and here we are so many years later, and if I could say, boy, have I come a long way, which I can, I thought you were where you could only be, right? You were JL. You were the it person, certainly in my eyes at the time. And, even, certainly along with Shannon, certainly immediate mentors, and along with a handful of others. I can't say many, many others. It was a handful back then. And now it's just been such a ride. I feel like, we started off in, flying a kite, went to the hot air balloon, somehow figured to get on a little 2-engine twin plane, and now we're riding the shuttle together, baby, and it's great. It's really just great that we're soaring in similar and different directions. So, yeah, here's the home business diva, baby.
That's right, the home business diva. And, yeah, you got into Miami. There were two locations back when we were doing lots of newspaper advertising, just print ads, classifieds. And Miami was one, and Portland, Oregon was the other. And it was like nobody can get an ad placed in either of these two papers. Like something weird there. It's a big regulatory issue or something, or perhaps everyone's afraid of scams. They have to protect the public from scam artists or something like that, which is advertising an income opportunity. Like, what's the big friggin' deal? And, but you got in. You got it. So, you see, not everybody's good at everything. You were better than me than that.
Well, here's what it was. Back then I was truly ignorance on fire. So here's the thing, because I had so much advertising background, I also knew that I wasn't, one thing about me is I never accepted no, and I will never still accept no. I believe everything is possible and everything can be done. That's just something, that is just who I am. It's what I believe. If it's my scarlet letter A, I believe it can be done, period. Okay. So I just approached it a little bit differently, and it was about really, which it still is today, just educating the person on the other end of the phone. They really didn't understand network marketing, direct sales, working from home. They just simply didn't understand, so they were quick to say no. They didn't want to be convinced, and that was that. My approach was just so different because I really didn't even understand myself about working from home. I just did it, just like I didn't know the first thing about writing a book. You know that. Even when we went on to different, areas in business, we spoke about that too, right? And, we masterminded on how to write a book. If I actually took the time to think about how to do everything I do successfully, I'd probably not do it. So I just am a person of action. I do it, and I did the same thing back then. And guess what? I'm still in the game. I train and I teach and I coach. And I've really created this fabulous, group of success strategies. I am still in the game. I still market my business. I still work with teams, which I love. And here's the thing. I'm even still in newspapers, John. People still read newspapers. It all works. There's no magic pill. I know. We know. It all works.
We're like 38 seconds into this interview, and there's already been like 3 major lessons that have come from this. I hope everyone's taking notes, or you're going to replay this over and over and over again. We're in the flow here, Robin. Let's keep this going. You're talking about no magic pill. Now think about this, everybody. Oh, this is good stuff. How many times, Robin, have someone come up to you at an event that we were speaking at together or hosting or whatever, and, Robin Firestone, what's your best ad? What's the best way to get leads, right? Give me the magical stuff, right?
Some things don't change, John.
Yeah. Yeah,
and here's the strange thing. There's 6.5 billion people in the world. 6.5 billion people more or less on this planet. 6.5 billion. How many times? I repeated that 3 times, I think, so far, right? And no matter how many times I repeat it, the number's not going to change. It's that much. It doesn't matter. All we are doing, and here's what I wrapped my head around very early, John, is that never having been in a home business or a business that I ran from my home, I didn't really identify the rules of that. I didn't know the rules. I didn't identify the rules. What I identified is that I was starting a business of my own. So what is a business owner responsible for? What do? They're responsible to learn the business from somebody who's can assist them in learning the business, right? Especially if it's a type of a home business franchise, right? But it's also very important as a business owner to get customers. We have to market so people know we're in business, whether it's a restaurant, a handbag store, a shoe store, whatever, any brick and mortar business to a florist, to a home business. Doesn't matter. Everybody's got goods and services, right? The law of supply and demand. Go where the demand is, follow the money, you'll make the most money. That's what I did. That's all I did. I still do that. All right. So if I understood that and then understood that I wanted to create a multi-million-dollar business, right? I had to think, what does a multi-million-dollar business owner think like? What do they do? Okay. So a big multi-million-dollar business is going to have their own advertising agency. They've already allocated the funds to do so. They're certainly not going to think poverty consciousness. So they have this budget, and they hire some, big name agency to create strategy marketing for them a good year, even maybe 2 years in advance before they even ever open their doors. That's right. Trust me, Apple's not worried about how much they spend, neither is McDonald's. So if I'm thinking big, I'm thinking I have to create a budget, and I just have to, I deserve to have people to speak to. So I was more afraid not to spend money and not to market my business than to spend the money. because otherwise it would be a slow drown and it would be frustrating, and it would be no different than if I, found myself a nice little brick and mortar rental shop, on Main Street, USA, or Main Street somewhere in the world, and I had all this merchandise, but no one knew I was there. So there's no magic. Business is business is business. Own your business, operate your business, run your business, learn the infrastructure, listen to your trainers. Do as I do, not as I say, right? Monkey see, monkey do, just do as I do. And plan to build the business, give it time. I was really tempting just even the other day, placing an ad saying, call me to find out how to order your money beans to grow a money tree. I was so tempted, John, because, that's what people think. And it's just not the way that it is. People run out of patience, gotta give it time. You want a money tree, John?
I want some beans. Yeah, we need some beans over here.